Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for choosing Across the Fence. I'm Will Michael in for Fran Stoddard. It is the first Thursday of the month, which means it is recipe time here on Across the Fence. For decades, we've shared our recipes with you. They often feature Vermont-grown fruits like apples or raspberries, or dairy products like milk and cheese, and of course those delicious Vermont maple recipes. So for this month, Chef Marco has some throwback recipes, along with some thoughts on food and Mother's Day.
Hi, I'm Marco Ayala, and I'm here to share another recipe with all of you. Well, we're in May. Weather is getting better, and of course today is Cinco de Mayo, so happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. Of course, also Mother's Day is coming ahead, so it was very hard for me to pick a theme for this month, but what really inspired me this month was that our good friend Wendy Waples Scully, which is a wonderful friend of Across the Fence, and she found all this old Across the Fence pamphlets from the early 90s all the way to 95, 96. And this really, so thank you, Wendy, for sending these. It's been wonderful seeing what Across the Fence was doing back then in terms of recipes. So I went through all this recipe pamphlets, and I selected a few really great recipes that are going to be like a little bit of a throwback for our taste buds. So the first one is for an appetizer that is probably from the late 80s. And this pamphlet is called Across the Fence After Ski Recipes. And I found this great recipe for tasty frankfurts. My guess is that this is a recipe by legendary Across the Fence producer Lynn Jarvis. So let me show it to you, and you're gonna notice this little crock because you probably had this one growing up. It's a very 80s, 90s thing. It also inspired me to dig out some of my old dishes. And there it is, tasty frankfurts. And look how good those look. I'm gonna put some here in a plate that we're gonna start, and I also dug out the old 80s pattern for today's show. So I'm having so much fun with this, as you can tell. And it's a recipe that is so easy to put together. So let me tell you how to make it. First, you're gonna take 1 pound mini frankfurts. You're gonna score them or cut them into smaller pieces. And for this, you can use the small mini frankfurts, or you can actually use hot dogs and cut them into smaller pieces. Remember, all of these recipes are about using what you have in hand. Then, to a pan, you're gonna add 2 tablespoons butter, 2 tablespoons maple syrup, and 1 tablespoon soy sauce. Once the mixture is up to a boil, add the frankfurts and simmer it until the sauce is dark and slightly thick. And that is it. Wasn't that super easy? And I'm telling you, you will not believe how good these are, considering how easy they are to put together. So I really hope you give these a try. I think it's, like this really cool throwback to our childhood and some of the things that we used to eat. And going back to our theme of Throwback Thursday, I found this pamphlet from 1995 called Pork Recipes. And as I was going through it, I found this wonderful recipe called Next Day Noodle Bake. And as you all remember, during the 80s and 90s, the casseroles were the whole rage. So I found this really good casserole that sounds great, plus is a recipe by Mona Jarvis, who is the mother of former producer Lynn Jarvis, and she was a great cook. So happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. If you're still lucky enough to have your mom around, give her a call your motherly figure. And if you don't have your mom around anymore, call a friend who's a mother and tell her what a great job raising her children you think she's doing, because I think that is something that a lot of moms really need to hear. So going back to cooking. So look at this. It looks so good. And I am not sure if the name of the casserole is next day noodle casserole, because as you all know, and as mom used to probably tell you, food tastes better the next day. Not sure if my mom used to tell me that just to get me to eat the leftovers, or if it's because, well, all the flavors settle and melt together and it does indeed taste better the next day. So let me tell you how to put this casserole together. First, you're gonna chop 1/2 cup onion. Then you're gonna chop 2 cups ham. And this recipe calls for canned mushrooms. However, the beauty of updating these recipes is that now we can use fresher ingredients and you can substitute things. So in this case, instead of using the canned mushrooms, I decided to use 8 ounces sliced mushrooms because I think they work great and it gives it a little crispness, just having the fresh veggies there. Then to a pot, you're gonna add 1/4 cup butter. Then, once the butter is melted, you're gonna add the onion and the mushrooms. And you are gonna cook them over a medium heat until the onion and the mushrooms are tender. Then you're gonna add 3 tablespoons flour, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and a dash of pepper. And then you're gonna add 3 cups milk. And the recipe calls for a dash of cayenne pepper. However, instead, I decided to add a little bit of rosemary and a little bit of basil to give it a little bit of an earthy flavor to it. So, however, as I always say with recipes, make it your own and add the ingredients that your family is going to enjoy. Cook over medium heat, stirring constantly until the sauce thickens. Then you're gonna add your ham and remove it from the heat. And once you have your sauce ready, it's time to cook the noodles, which is obviously the best part of a casserole. In a large pot, you're gonna cook 8 ounces white egg noodles as directed in the package. Once the noodles are cooked, you're gonna drain them and combine them with the sauce. Transfer them to an oven-safe dish and top it with cheese and paprika. Finally, you're gonna bake it for 20 to 25 minutes or until brown at 400 degrees. And yes, this recipe is definitely reminding me of my childhood. So I really hope you give this recipe a try, because I think that all these old recipes are great. Now, let's move over to dessert, because what will life be without dessert? And you know who says that? Carolyn Peak. And you probably all remember her from Across the Fence, of course. And I found a recipe of hers from 1996 in this Berry Recipes pamphlet. And the minute that I saw it, I knew that I had to make it. So look at this beautiful recipe. It is a chocolate sinful pie. And yes, this is as good as it sounds. So let me tell you how our friend Caroline says to put this together. First, you're gonna place 1/2 cup chocolate chips in a double boiler and cook until the chocolate melts. Then you're gonna beat 8 ounces softened cream cheese. Then you're gonna add 1/4 cup packed brown sugar and 1/2 teaspoon vanilla. Beat it well. Then you're gonna add your melted chocolate to the cream cheese and beat it well. Now, Carolyn here in her recipe says to use 1 cup whipping cream whipped. However, as you all know, I like easy recipes and I like taking shortcuts. So instead of using the whipping cream, I use 1 container whipped topping. And I'm telling you, it works just as well. So this really is going to come down to whether you want a richer pie, in which case you definitely want to use whipping cream, or if you want a pie that is a little lighter and a little more airy, in which case you definitely want to try the whipped topping. Fold the whipped topping into the chocolate mixture. Once it's well combined, spoon the chocolate filling into a 9-inch chocolate cookie pie crust. Then you're going to take 1 pint fresh strawberries and you're going to remove the tops and cut them in half. Then you're going to arrange them over the filling. Finally, with your leftover melted chocolate, drizzle over the strawberries. Then cover it and chill for at least 4 to 8 hours. And just like that, we have a meal that probably reminds you of your childhood. And on that note, I have to tell you to follow Across the Fence on social media so you can get all the latest updates of Across the Fence in your inbox or your phone. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get all these updates on your phone or your computer. Happy Mother's Day, and from my kitchen to your kitchen, happy cooking and enjoy your food.
Thank you, Marco, and we extend an early Mother's Day greeting to all our moms in the audience. Before we go, a reminder that you can find our recipes archived on our website. Go to uvm.edu/extension/atfence, and you'll find the recipes highlighted in green. That is our program for today. We know you have choices, so thanks for choosing us. I'm Will Michael, inviting you to join us back here each weekday afternoon for another visit Across the Fence.